Welcome to Season 3 of The Breakdown, the official podcast of the Breakaway Roping Journal and calfroping.com. This season, we're diving into both the breakaway and calf roping like never before, bringing you the personalities, successes, and horses that make these events great.
You can expect training tips from the top ropers, stories from the road, and industry news that goes beyond the numbers.
I'm Taylor Vollen, your calf roping host.
And I'm Lillian Kent, your breakaway host.
And this is The Breakdown.
Well, hello everyone. This is Lillian, and I am back bringing you another episode of the Breakaway Breakdown, this time with Miss Madison Outhier. Madison was the first ever Resistol Rookie of the Year. She currently rodeos for Texas A&M University, where she's finishing up a business degree, and she has been a very constant fixture in pro rodeo life the last 4 years or so. Unfortunately, on July 18th, at Salt Lake City, the Days of 47 rodeo, Madison slipped a head of slack and her mare came over backwards on top of her, which resulted in some pretty gnarly injuries. It is absolutely heartbreaking to hear her retell the story, but at the same time, you get to see just how special the rodeo family is as everyone gathers around her to lift her up both literally and figuratively. I can share a happy update and say since recording this episode, Madison has been cleared to start physical therapy, which is absolutely huge since we're only a little more than a month out from the actual accident. Okay, it's almost time to jump in, but first I need to give a little shout out to this week's episode sponsor, Horse Week. Horse Week is essentially an online equine film festival, and it's launching October 20th through the 26th. It has a ton of really cool pieces, documentary type stuff, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them at the break. But now it's time to rope. Let's go. Well, good morning, Madison. Thank you for taking some time out of your recovery down there in Houston to chat with us about the accident and everything that's happened since then on the breakdown.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Perfect. Well, kind of talk us through what 2024 looked like for you from the jump. Kind of bring us up to this like July-ish time.
Yeah, so last year I ended up 17th in the world, and so that was kind of a heartbreaker. But I, still wanted to go at the NFR this year was my hopes going into the new year. I had an absolutely terrible winter rodeo season. Probably the worst I've had in the 3 years that I've pro rodeoed. And so I also didn't really rodeo over the spring much, with going to school at Texas A&M. I'm just not able to go out to the California rodeos, just stuff like that. And then I actually took a whole month off to go on a study abroad trip with Texas A&M, and through the Mays Business School. And so that was a decision that I had made, last year. I had to sign up for it. And so I knew that it would take a chunk of rodeos out of my season this year, but I was super happy to do it. It was an awesome experience. Definitely don't regret it. So I was going into the summer, really behind. I think I only came out with like $4,500 out into the summer, and so Bo Peterson and I's plans were to get in together after the college national finals. I qualified for A&M in the breakaway, and just go from there. I know a lot of money is won over the summer, and so I was really excited to, not worry about what standing I was in at the moment, but just go from there. And so it started off pretty good. I didn't have a great fourth, but I placed a lot, kind of just got, little checks and stuff like that. And then I was really excited going into the week of Nampa. I won Nampa last year and just love those Utah rodeos, love Salinas. It's really fun. I've had a young mare out here with me this summer along with Rooster, my great main horse. And so I was really excited to ride her at the long starts like Cheyenne and Salinas and stuff like that. And so I ended up kind of having a last minute switch on her at Salt Lake. I did good at Nampa, was coming back, I think, for side call whenever I went to rope at Nampa, or rope at Salt Lake. And so I was really excited for that week because that's a huge week for us and everything. And then the accident happened that morning walking up to the arena. So that's kind of all that led up to it.
Yeah. And she slipped and kind of fell, and then you kind of came over and was hit by the saddle horn, right?
Well, not exactly the saddle horn, I don't think. I did go to stop her because I was leading Rooster, and he stopped to poop, and so I kind of abruptly had to stop her, and she just slipped on that asphalt. We had to park in the back of the like fan parking lot, and so it was on that slick asphalt walking up to the Days of 47 arena, and I had just passed Marty Yates and Lane Livingston, and so they were right there and able to get to me. But yeah, she just lost her footing and came over backwards, and it felt like kind of slow motion until I was just right underneath her. And I think it was kind of like a sideways, somehow I got under sideways, and so that's why the whole right side of my body was on the asphalt. And she just, I don't think the saddle horn actually hit me. I think that it like might have went in between my shoulder and head, like in that space there, because I think that just her whole body weight is what crunched me. There wasn't
Mm.
really like a
Oh my
indention from
gosh.
like the saddle horn anywhere. But yes, I think it was all just her body weight. And so it broke my collarbone, broke 7 out of the 8 ribs on my right side, collapsed and punctured my right lung, and lacerated my liver with a 3 out of 5 severity. So all of that combined was quite a bit to handle at first, but it's definitely, I'm on the upward mend for sure.
Yeah, because you were in the ICU for a week and a half.
Um, they had me in the ICU specifically for only about 3 days, and then I was on their trauma surgical level for a week.
Okay. That is so scary. And some of those rodeo grounds, especially where there's a lot of foot traffic or vehicle traffic, it's exactly what kind of asphalt that is, that like kind of almost glassy, like
Yes.
totally smooth. And if a
Yeah.
horse has shoes on the back and loses their balance, it's totally understandable why that would happen.
Oh, for sure. And I've always tried to walk on that stuff like by foot and lead them, and just they parked us so far out there that day. I was like not really feeling good. It just a lot added up to it. I was like, oh, I'll just ride her up there. It'll be fine. And then I wasn't even gonna take Rooster, but I was like, oh, I'll exercise him because we're gonna fly to Salinas and he's gonna stay here. And so I'll just pony him and exercise him so he's good for the Nampa Short, because we're gonna fly to Salinas and fly straight back to the Nampa Short go. So it all just lined up to be the perfect storm. And
Yeah.
all just happened at the right time. But
Yeah. Do you remember kind of the aftermath? Like, do you remember the mayor getting up and like everybody like coming over to like check on you and everything?
yes, so I like as soon as she got off me, it seemed like she got off me fairly quickly, but I guess a couple guys that were there told my dad that she kind of couldn't get off me for a little bit. I never lost consciousness, but I guess that part was a little fuzzy. Right after that, though, I knew like my right side was crushed and I could not catch a breath. And so I didn't know if like it was a lung or the ribs, and I was just out of breath, like the air got knocked out of me. But after about like Marty got straight to me, Marty Yates, and held me until the ambulance got there. Um, Paramedics were on site, but it just took them a long time to get to me. And so Marty held me off the ground and like was talking to me the whole time. And I think that's why I didn't lose consciousness, honestly, because he was just telling me to stay calm and to breathe. And I kept telling him I can't breathe because it hurts so bad to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, within seconds, because I mean, everybody was kind of going up there because Breakaway flag was just about to start, and everybody was parked in the same spot, out there. So, and it was just like right before you got to the arena, like it was right there. So everybody, it seemed like, was around me and, huddled up. And my boyfriend Connor got there about 5 minutes after it happened, and he was there, and then Taylor Hanchey, I could see her. She was on the phone with my mom. And so I was in a lot of pain right then, though. I remember kind of like not screaming, but I was just, you know, groaning in a lot of pain at that point. And so I knew there was a lot of people around me, and then Tacy Webb got right to me. And, she's a great nurse. And so that was comforting to have her there, but she was on the paramedics' butt for sure. It was good to have her there. They were kind of taking their time. And so I don't think because I wasn't like flailing and acting like I was dying that they thought I was fairly okay. They were just kind of like pressing on me. They're like, "Oh, does this hurt? Does this hurt?" I'm like, "Yeah, it all hurts." But they ended up not, those paramedics that were there, they weren't cleared to take me in the ambulance. So they had to wait for another set of paramedics to get there to take me. And then I was off in the ambulance to the hospital. And like Connor, my boyfriend, he went and unhooked like as soon as they put me in the ambulance, and he beat us to the hospital and got there, and he was right there. Tacy Webb rode in the ambulance with us. I kept telling her, I was like, just stay, you got to rope your calf. I was like, I'm gonna be fine. They have me now. It's all gonna be good. I got, situated where I could talk, and told her that, and she was like, absolutely not. I don't care about this calf more than I care about you. I'm going with you. And so Bo, my traveling partner, uh had my horses, got them taken care of, so I knew they were good. And yeah, so it was hectic in there, but once I got to the hospital, they got me straight in. It was a great hospital. It was Intermountain Medical Center, and they were awesome. They took first class care of me from the second I got through the doors till the second I left. And so they came in pretty quickly after the scans and everything and told me, what all was broken and severed and all that stuff. And so Connor stayed there with me. He turned his calf out at Salt Lake, even though I told him the same thing. And he was there with me, through the whole thing. And then Aspen Miller and Brady Good came right there with Brady's mom, and she was keeping my mom updated. My mom got on the first flight from Houston to Salt Lake. And so once my mom got there, it was great. She didn't leave my side, but it was definitely hectic. But again, they really did take good care of me, so it all went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I was just tearing up when you were talking about Tacy because, like, yeah, they could have gone back and roped their calf, she and Connor, but what would they have been thinking when they were back in the box? They would have been thinking about
Yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that the hospital had their act together once you got
Yes.
there. Was obviously the injuries as a whole were really awful. I've heard ribs being broken is like one of the worst things.
Yes.
Um, was there anything that was like really like an oh crap moment as far as like the liver lacerations or anything like that?
They were pretty concerned. I think when I got to the hospital with the internal bleeding from my liver,
Mm,
I guess since the paramedics took about 20 minutes to get to me, before they, even got to me and then called in another ambulance, it was like 30 minutes probably of me laying on the ground there in the asphalt. And so, um, that could have went south pretty quickly if my liver was bleeding even just a little bit more than it was. Uh, and Taylor Hanchey then went back straight to the paramedics as soon as we found out what was, the diagnosis of everything, and just, I guess, ripped into him and told him that, us rodeo people are a lot tougher than the normal people, and we may not act like we're dying, but she told him like all that was wrong with me, and like how, they could have sped up the process of everything they did, because it could have been worse than what it was, given my injuries I had. And so, it just a couple things like that, that Lord was definitely with me the whole time. Nothing hit my back, my spine, or my head. I mean, my hat's not even crunched one bit. So, I mean, it could have went a lot worse than it did for sure. And I'm just really thankful that I only sustained the injuries that I did and nothing else was tragically affected.
I know. And was your mare okay?
Completely fine. I sent her to Salinas with Bo that day, and Bo rode her at Salinas still. She was 100% sound. I guess I broke her fall pretty good.
Yeah. You were a nice cushion, as awful as
Yeah.
that sounds.
Yeah, my ribs cushioned her pretty well.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. And then Josie took Rooster to Nampa, and then she ended up winning Nampa. Can you tell me a little bit about how that all worked out?
Yeah, so I had already had a plan in place for Rooster to get to Nampa since I was going to go to Salinas and fly to Nampa short go. And so Madeline Richards was going to pick up Rooster in Ogden after she roped in Spanish Fork and take him to the short go there. And so Josie Connor had already reached out and asked me to ride Rooster in the short go at Nampa as well. And that was all in place, all good to go. So when the accident happened, obviously Josie, told me, hey, don't worry about it. I can find something else to ride. And I was like, no, like, it's all good. I'm going to be here for a while. I'm not going to need to take my horses anywhere for a while. Like, you're good. I'll keep the plan in line with Madeline. He'll be there for you. And so she was really thankful for that, obviously. And just, yeah, it was awesome. I was watching from my hotel bed on the Cowboy Channel, and she made one of the most badass runs I've ever seen in general. And it was so awesome to see. He's amazing on fast setups, but he's given me everything he has since he was 5 years old, and he's 16 now. And I mean, we raised him, trained him, and he's given me and now Josie some really special wins. It was awesome to see that happen. He's definitely an awesome athlete. Josie's an amazing roper. It worked out great, and it was really fun to see. And I won Nampa on him last year, so it was pretty cool that he was back-to-back champ there.
Mm-hmm. And I saw a video. You guys are putting him out to pasture, and he's going to have some rest now.
Yes, so when we got home yesterday evening, or I guess a couple days ago, he got to go out and enjoy his little break until I am ready to go again and need him. So I'm glad that I get to give him a month or two break. I feel like every year, and it's really important for him because he goes all year for me, college rodeos to all the pro rodeos. So he's never letting up, but I definitely feel like he deserves a break, at least a month or two every year. So I'm glad to be able to give it to him this year, and maybe even longer than that, just depending on the rodeos. My mare's doing really good, so I'm hoping to be able to ride her at maybe some of the college rodeos and extend his break a little bit longer.
Okay, sounds good. We'll jump right back into the episode, but for now, I need to take a moment to talk to you about Horse Week. Celebrate the splendor of horses during Horse Week. Join us for the ultimate equine celebration during the Horse Week Film Festival, brought to you by Bovringer Ingelheim, October 20th through the 26th, 2024. This extraordinary event unites horse enthusiasts from around the globe in a free week-long online film festival dedicated to the awe-inspiring world of horses. Sign up for our free newsletter to stay in the know and tune in live October 20th through the 26th at horseweek.tv. And now, let's jump back in. Well, tell me about like the pain management, because like how soon were they able to get you a little bit more comfortable?
So, right about as we got to the hospital, which is a 20-minute drive, um, the pain pills or medicine, whatever that they were giving me, kicked in. And so I did get pretty much immediate comfort after that. It was pretty awful until then.
Mm-hmm.
But they kept me pretty well medicated while I was in the hospital. But about the second day after it, I started really feeling the collarbone break, I guess. And so they weren't going to operate on that just because the collarbone, they told us, is a bone that really likes to heal. If it's just a clean break right through the middle, it heals really well. If you don't have to operate on it, they normally don't. Well, about the second or third day in the ICU, I mean, I was in excruciating pain. I could not move without feeling like a scorching hot knife was going through my collarbone. And so they said that the bone was probably moving around and hitting my nerves, and that's what was causing that pain. And so they did decide to go ahead and operate. But they kept saying, it looked like a pretty clean break. It looked like a pretty clean break. But I guess when they opened me up, it looked like a clean break from the front of the x-rays that they were doing each day after I was in the ICU. But it was actually one bone was behind the other and then pointed into towards like my back. And so it was a lot worse than they thought, and definitely why I was in so much pain. And so they were very glad that they went ahead and did surgery, and glad that we wanted to do surgery. They gave us the option, and my mom and I were like, absolutely. We have a 21-hour drive home in a truck and trailer. Like, I cannot survive this if I don't get some sort of pain relief. And they said that pain relief would be a lot better after the surgery. And so we were really glad we did the surgery. And it definitely looked worse, I guess, whenever they opened it up. So they were glad that we chose that route. After that, it's really just been, I've been really sore across my whole chest. I think that the swells hit my chest, and it probably could have been the saddle horn too, but there's like really no like exact like one spot that I think is worse than the other of my chest besides the collarbone. And so that's why I think the whole swells just probably hit there. And then the ribs come and go kind of. It's like I'll be fine, and then I'll do a certain movement. I'll be like, oh yeah, there they are. And so they said that so I broke 1 through 5, skipped 6 somehow, and then broke 7 and 8 on my right side. And so the top 5 were more displaced than the bottom 2. And so those are the ones that I feel the most. But they said after 2 weeks, they'll start sticking. And so I won't feel the movement of them. It's kind of like a popping feel whenever I breathe in and out sometimes or do a certain movement. And like, I mean, it's just the weirdest feeling. It hurts, but it's just more weird than anything because like you really do feel a move. Yeah. And so yeah, that's a little hard to deal with, but for the most part, it's the chest and ribs, but yeah, I'm doing pretty well overall. They sent me home with some like lesser pain medicine, and so I'm just kind of trying to adapt to that, and each day has been different, honestly. Yesterday I had a doctor's appointment here in Houston with one of my mom's great orthopedic surgeon that she unfortunately had to use quite a bit through her polo career. And so luckily we have him who we really trust and value. And we were going to do the collarbone surgery with him if it wasn't so bad and we needed to basically do it there. They told me I couldn't fly home with my lung. And so we knew whenever I'd drive home that we wanted to go and just do the collarbone surgery. But when we got home and got with him yesterday, he gave me some good workouts to go ahead and start doing. I can't lift my right arm for 6 weeks, but I can move it in ways to keep my rotator cuff where it won't freeze up, because if I just leave it completely, isolated and not moving for 6 weeks, he said I'll run into rotator cuff problems. And just since I used my right arm for a living, that he wanted me to go ahead and start doing some movements so that it will work that rotator cuff, keep it to where it's, feeling good whenever I am able to start using my right arm again. I've also been kind of dealing with because I'm having to use my left arm for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really a challenge for me. But I'm dealing with kind of like muscle spasms in my left side of my neck and arm and stuff just from, I guess, having to overcompensate and do everything.
Yeah.
But
Well, your body's literally in shock. Like, no, a
yes,
body is not supposed to endure trauma like that.
right. Yeah. So it was great to meet with him yesterday, though. And he, gave us a lot of good things. So I can look forward to doing. I'm going to see him in 3 weeks again, and he's going to, reevaluate everything. But he said that, given that I'm young and super healthy, that I should come back fully from this within about 2 months. I'll be able to start roping again. So
2 months?
no chance for 2024 roping in the TA, but I'll be able to go ahead and hopefully be good for the start of the college rodeos and the start of the 2025 season. So I'm excited for
Wow.
that. Yep.
I am still surprised at the 2 months. I mean, it's
Yep.
great that, like you
Yes.
said, that you're so young. And I was just thinking, like, you're healthy, you know,
Yeah.
your body is kind of malleable at this point. Whereas if you were 40 and you had already put
Yes.
your body through the ringer, we might be saying something a little different. But,
Yes.
okay. Are you like up and wandering around?
I am able to walk, yes. It's kind of hard for me to like get up from sitting down and stuff like that alone just because I have a hard time like with my only having my left hand and not having much like I guess I can't really get my upper half up easily just because it hurts kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm able to walk around. I got pretty sick the first few days of getting up and just after laying in a bed for a week, kind of they
Mm-hmm.
tried to get me up a few times in the hospital and it went south. But now I'm able to get up on my own pretty well. I have like a mound of pillows I have to sleep on to kind of keep myself elevated. And
Mm-hmm.
I used to sleep on my stomach, so this is like a huge curveball for me
Oh my
to
gosh,
sleep
you were
on
a
my
stomach
back.
sleeper.
Yes, and so I'm having to sleep on my back, like where I basically can't move. And that's kind of an adjustment for sure. But my boyfriend's family back and since brought over a recliner chair for me yesterday, so that's like been a lifesaver, and I can like push myself up, with the recliner sitting up a lot
Mhm.
easier.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, for the most part, I'm moving around good. I'll probably start trying to, go on walks and stuff to keep my body somewhat in okay shape.
Mhm.
And then next week they did a really good job with my surgical incision, where I have no visible, I guess, stitches or staples or anything. They glued it with surgical super glue. And
Nice.
so I have to wait kind of a couple weeks before I can get in a pool or anything. But I think that once that comes up, I'll start trying to, do a lot of leg workouts in the pool and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna ask, are you bionic now? Did you get any plates or anything in your collarbone?
Yes, I did get a plate and 10 screws in my collarbone. And
Ooh.
they said that, yes, they said that with like skinnier girls, you'll probably be able to see it once the swelling goes down. And so I'm able to take it out like in a year or so after everything's completely healed if I want to. But if it doesn't bother me, they said it's something that can stay in for the rest of my life if I need it to. So
10 screws is a lot.
yes, it's very long. It's shockingly how long it is. And right now there's still purple pen like written on it. So it looks like I'm all stitched up. And it looks really ugly right now. So it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to
And
see. But
like you mentioned with your like muscle spasms from the left hand, I mean, you're having to like feed yourself with your left hand, brush your teeth with your left
yes,
hand. You're like, how do I even do this?
yes. My mom has been a saint and she does a lot of things, helps me with she's had to help me with everything while I was in the hospital, and now I'm starting to get a little bit more independent where I can, put on my clothes and stuff, somewhat with my left hand and everything. And so, But it's definitely an adjustment. Like every single thing I do is hard now. And so um yeah, it's been a challenge for sure.
Yeah, certainly changes your frame of mind for the future, just knowing how these little things we take for granted can be like taken away from you, essentially.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so as you mentioned, PRCA is kind of off the table for the remainder of the year, but you're looking forward to college rodeos in the fall. Are you a junior or a senior at A&M?
I'm a senior. It's crazy.
You're in the final quarter.
Yes.
Okay, and you're graduating with business?
Yes. Focusing on a major in marketing and then a minor in entrepreneurship.
Okay, I love marketing. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had your study abroad and it was in Europe, right? Did you guys go to multiple
Yes.
countries?
Yes. We went to 7 different countries in a
Oh my
month. It
gosh.
was crazy.
I just remember seeing all of your photos and videos and I was like, this girl is
Yeah.
like a world traveler.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Well, I'm glad you got that in before all of this went down, but it sounds
Oh, I
like
know.
you'll be back to roping before we even realize. So we were talking about how Marty and Tacy were such a big part of the initial kind of accident and getting you safe. But I mean, I know I was texting you and there was an outpouring of support on Facebook. What was it like to be on the receiving end of that?
Oh, it was honestly crazy. I knew that, my immediate friend group that was there for me in the hospital and came to visit me every day. That was amazing to have them, but just to have the amount of support online, social media, getting text messages, messages on Instagram, Facebook, things like that. It was really unbelievable, and it just goes to show how amazing our rodeo family is, and
Mm-hmm.
how wide that reach is, in the rodeo world. Just about every breakaway roper that was at Salt Lake, I feel like, texted me, which was so awesome to have, the girls rally around you and be so sweet and thoughtful and sending flowers. I mean, there were people across the country sending me flowers. They said that
Oh,
that I had a record-breaking amount of flowers in my room, the most that the hospital's ever had.
oh my
And
gosh.
which was crazy. And so it was just so nice and just filled me with so much joy, honestly, because it's awesome to see how nice everybody can be in times like this. And yeah, the rodeo world is truly amazing. Just everybody that reached out was so sweet and thoughtful, and it really does show that. When you're out there rodeoing, you kind of sometimes feel like you're on your own. I have a lot of friends out there, but it gets hard at times, and uh, just whenever you're at your lowest point like that, right then it was amazing to have all that support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people probably coming out of the woodworks and people you don't even know sending you well wishes.
Yes, yes, it was amazing.
And I know Miss Kendra Santos had posted a few updates, and when Kendra gets a hold of something, everybody's gonna know and everybody's gonna be pumped about it.
Yes, yes, she was so sweet, and did a much better articulation of updating people of my current situations, and so yeah, that was great to have her.
You're like, I'm alive. Thanks for the
Mhm.
flowers. And she's like
Yes,
giving us these play by plays.
yes, yes, she's great.
Okay, well, walk us through maybe the next like 2 weeks of recovery and kind of how we can support you and cheer you on.
Yes. So I'm going to try and, up my physical activity just in general every day. Yesterday was kind of a big day, just going to doctor's appointments and things like that. But the next couple weeks are going to be pretty slow. So I'll have lots of times of just pondering in my thoughts, I guess, and trying to find little things to keep me busy. I'm help with the social media for our rodeo team at Texas A&M, so I'm hoping to stay busy with that as well as my jewelry business and just stuff like that, that I can do from a computer on my lap, which is easier for me to do. But yeah, just over the next couple weeks, it's going to be physical therapy, keeping up with the exercises that I'll need to be doing with my arm, and keeping the rest of my body in shape as best as I can. My mom has already gotten me all these types of health foods and stuff like that so that I can stay on top of my nutrition and stuff like that. So that's going to be pretty hard to stay on top of. I don't have a super great appetite built back up yet, but I'm getting there. And the increased physical activity every day, I feel like is going to be pretty challenging just because I do get sick still. I'm assuming with the medicine I'm on and just post surgery and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully I get a little bit better every day. And yeah, everybody's prayers has just really helped me a lot. I feel very blessed that I feel like God's been with me every step of the way, and I feel like, this year just wasn't for me, and I felt like that's, in his plan and in his timing, and I hope to be able to grow my faith a lot through this journey. I have a lot of great friends who's given me some more like devotional books and things like that that I can start doing, and so yeah, I really truly think that it's all in his timing and his plan. And so I'm excited to see, the comeback story that he has in line for me. And I hope that I can, help those, inspire those who have gone through something difficult. I've had a really rough 4 years, I feel like, in pro rodeo. I've been cut short the last 4 years of the NFR, which has been, my main goal. And so just have a little bit bigger of a setback and show me, that I thought I had it bad the last 4 years, but hey, like, look at this, like, there's a lot more that, you need to be thankful for every day and things like that. Just to put it in perspective, I fully intend on working as hard as I can for my comeback. I don't want to take anything for granted anymore. It's just a lot of different perspectives that can come out of this, and I hope I can make a lot of those perspectives positive.
Yeah, make them work for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Breakaway is always going to be there, and hopefully we can get it in the big house, and
oh yeah,
it's just going to keep this insane upwards trajectory. So the fact that this year wasn't your year for several reasons isn't a deal breaker. And
right, exactly.
There's always going to be next year. So
yes, and I feel very lucky that I have, the support behind me to rodeo right now and chase my dreams. And I'm still going to school, but able to rodeo, on the side is awesome. And I'm very thankful that I have the horsepower and that my horses are healthy and not hurt. And yeah, just a lot of positives, a lot of things that you can look at, your disabilities, or you can look at your abilities, and I have a lot of things to be thankful for. So
Madison, thank you so much for your time. I know us over here at the Breakaway Roping Journal are rooting for you, as is the rest of the rodeo industry. Hopefully you can get you some appetite back, because that's probably going to be so huge.
Yes. Thank y'all so much, and I really appreciate all of everyone's support.
Like I said at the top of the show, I'm not sure there's anything simultaneously as heartbreaking and as inspiring as Madison's experience. I'm really looking forward to seeing her back out there on the rodeo road, finishing out her final year at Texas A&M, and then I'm sure we're going to see her back and better than ever for the pro rodeos in 2025. I cannot believe it's going to be 2025 next year. Special thanks to Horse Week for sponsoring today's episode, and I will catch you guys next time on The Breakdown.